Hello YouTubers, now today we are talking power supplies. This one was a power supply for a CCTV system. It powered, well, it can actually power 30 odd cameras. There we go. And this is a power supply off a PC. Now this one failed. It popped the caps spectacularly and blew resistors and blew power amp, blew everything. It can be repaired, don't get me wrong, but I'm struggling to try and find the bits. And then I basically, this is a power supply off a PC. It's a ATX power supply. This is 700 watt. One just happens to be 700 watt, but that doesn't really matter. But you can literally pick these up, the whole thing. Down the road we have a PC computer place, and you can pick these up for like 20 quid. Now I wouldn't even be able to get these parts for 20 quid, and I got the whole thing here brand new. We do have slightly different connections on, but that's not a big deal. We just need to cut these connections off here and put our ones on. Now all I've basically done is, there was a lot of hot snot all on here with these wires down, and what they actually did, they didn't even bother desoldering these, they just cut them and then they joined them, look, which is just ridiculous, but that's how they did it in the factory. So rather than desoldering all these wires, they basically got one of these power supplies, cut all these wires off and put their own wires on. These are 180 euros in Ireland. 180 euros for this. This is only 20 quid. So, and the only difference is these connections. Now these connections are only a couple of quid each. Ridiculous. So I'm just going to swap everything across. Like I said, all they've done is literally cut these wires, and you can see that they've just cut all these wires off and they've left them. You can see they've actually left them, look, and they just put hot snot over them so they're not causing any power issues or problems or anything like that. The only thing I have to do, there's a couple of different things on here. So we have obviously different connections. We don't need to use as many holes. There's only 4 wires coming in here, and then they have these couple of loops. They've crossed these loops in and around the board, so there's 2 of them. And then there's this little light. I think this is like an overheating light or some sort of power light, maybe. I'm not 100% sure. It could be a power light actually, so you know when it's turned on. And that's basically it. So all I've got to do is desolder this, swap these connections over. So desolder this, swap the connections over, and for about 20 quid I've repaired this board, saved myself 180 quid. I mean, it's a no-brainer. Absolute no-brainer. So there is 2 leads here. I don't particularly want to cut them off, so I've just unbolted the board. So I'm just going to literally turn the board like so. And as we can see, these here is where I need to desolder. Well, actually I'm not going to desolder, I'm going to basically do what they did, but just do a lot better job of it. I'm going to cut these a lot closer to the board. I'm not going to join them. The ones I'm going to put on, I'll desolder that specific leg, and I'll resolder it in, so I'm not joining the wires, but I'm just going to cut these close. It'll save me having to desolder all this. There's no point, and put some hot snot over it again, so it's not going to be an issue. So that'll save me a bit of time. And a good thing, if you are going to do this, just so you don't, it's very simple. You know, the black wires go in the little black box. You can't really go wrong, but just take a load of pictures, because obviously these wires are in a slightly different position, so I'm going to want to know where I'm going with them. This one broke off, but that's not a big deal. See, what I might be able to do from looking at this, rather than putting these wires on, I can see the brown wire and one of the orange wires. I can just cut them together. Rather than cutting all these off, this brown, I just do what they did and just solder them on and put a bit of heat shrink over them, and it'll save me having to desolder that and putting that on, because there's no point. So I'm going to swap all this across, which is going to be very simple, and see if it works. And if it has, I've saved myself a bloody fortune. So it is, look, exactly the same board. So simple. Or even the wires are the same colours. We've got yellow and black for the power, and then these other wires, I don't know what they're for, but that doesn't matter. We don't need to know what they're for. because we've got it all there sorted. So I'm now going to cut these, and I will turn the camera back on when I've got this a little bit cleaner so you can see a little bit better. Well, as you can see, I've got rid of all the wires, and I don't know if you can see on this board, but there's just blobs of this hot snot all the way over, and that's basically where they've just cut the wire and they've just just put the stuff over it so it can't do anything. Now I'm going to do the same. I don't see any problem with it, so it's worked for this one, so it should work again. So I've just cut everything, cut it as far as down as I can. I'm going to cut it a little bit further down on some of them, and all they've done here are these wires. They've just basically soldered them together, put a bit of heat shrink around them. So I'm going to do the same thing now. I've pulled them all aside so I know which wires connect to which ones. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut the wires. I'm going to tin them. I've showed on other videos how to tin them, solder them together. And once I've done that, I'll turn the camera back on and we'll go to the next stage. Sorted. Right, so I'm about halfway through these, just putting all these wires together. As you can see, I've soldered two of the wires together, the green and black and the brown and orange one. Now, I'm doing it exactly the same way they've done it. So basically, I've tinned the wires, I've soldered them together. I've done videos on how to basically do that. Next thing I'm going to do is put heat shrink on them. Heat shrink, heat wrap, there's loads of different names for it. It's really good stuff. You need to get it, obviously, just the tighter it fits the better. So you don't want it does shrink, but it doesn't shrink if you get a huge bit, it won't shrink to nothing. So the tighter the better. This literally just fits on. So I'm just pushing that down. Hopefully you can see that. So I could go a little bit more. Now a lighter or anything like that shrinks this stuff. I don't have a lighter with me because I don't smoke, but I have the soldering iron. So I'm literally just even running the soldering iron along it like that will, hopefully this is coming through on camera, it will shrink it as well. Just see that, hopefully you can see that. So let's get it nice and tight. Make sure it's a good, a lighter is better, or even like a little blowtorch. Right. That is it. Just going to cut that little bit of excess off at the top. Just actually push it together like that. I'll just push it with my fingers just to get it to seal. And that is like a job in the eye street. So just push that together. Now, look at that. Soldered, joined, sealed, sorted. Same again with this one. Now one thing you do want to do, if you solder it and you've maybe the wires are slightly hot or warm, don't put this stuff over straight away because it will instantly shrink. You want to make sure your connections are cold. So let the solder basically go cold, because you won't be able to get this stuff over. It will shrink as soon as it comes into any form of heat. So same again with this one. It's like magic, just in front of you, shrinking. Amazing. You can buy like a kit of this stuff, all different sort of sizes, and believe me, especially if you're doing anything with cars or anything like that, it's worth having because it's brilliant stuff. So let's squeeze the end of that again. Now that's two connections done. I've got there's four wires here, two black, two yellows. That's for my actual power for my or for the camera, should I say. And then the other two ones are for this little light, which I think is just to tell you it's turned on, I'm presuming, because obviously there's no like other light showing you this unit is on. Either that or it's an overload light or something, I'm not 100% sure, but that's the other two wires. And once that's in, that's it. sorted. We can test it. Well, I can turn it on. I can't test it, but I can turn it on. Let's see if the light goes on, then hopefully it works, but I don't know. But anyway, if it does, saves an absolute arm and a leg. So yeah, I'm just going to do the rest of this solders, turn it back on, and then see if it blows up or if it saves myself some money. So if this video doesn't go on, you can presume it's killed me. But if it does go on the internet, then I should still be alive. Right, so I think we're sorted. I've soldered, oh you can't see, I've soldered and heat shrunk these 4 connections here, which basically hold on to all the power cables for cameras or anything really, basically. I've also obviously connected this lighty majiggy thing here as well. So what I'm going to do now is I just want to make sure everything's not going to move around or float around or anything like that. So I've put a little cable tie here. So I want to try and get this nice and neat. The neater the better. Now there was some hot snot around here, so I might just glue this connection in first. It's good stuff, but what you have to remember with this stuff is when you're doing, especially a board with it, let this glue fully dry before you turn it on, because it will carry a current and you can pop everything. So I'm obviously going to put it over all these wires that are kind of in the way and, you know, exposed and stuff, just like they did. But before I turn this board on, I'm going to make sure that's gone completely white, which is kind of, it goes that colour when it's dry, so I know it's fully dry and I know I'm not going to do anything to it. So I have to wait for that to dry. Just try and get that to dry a little bit quicker, just so then I can do other things. Is that going to stay there for a minute? Ah, it is, yeah. So what I need to do now is obviously all the bits that we've cut, so just absolutely, yeah, lovely. Now you have to be careful too, because as you can see there is a connection here where we need to put, I think, our fan. Yeah, the little fan that goes on top of this unit, which I'll show you in a minute, goes onto that connection there. So you don't want to be plugging up all your connections. There's a connection here we need to get as well, so we'll just blump that. Blumped that. There's one down here. So blumped that. Couple more around here. Just wait for that to dry. Make sure this board's in the right place, which is there, because I can see a bit was falling down, so I don't want it to dry in the wrong place. Might be no harm, just while I'm here, put 2 screws in this board, just so I know I've got it in the right place, in case the hot snot falls down the end, which it has done, so I don't want it to glue the board in place. Now, we okay with that? So I'm going to continue with this. Get these bits in here. Lovely. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Yeah, look at that. You gotta love this stuff, you really have. Just a bit there. On these connections. Now I think that would be, well, I've missed a couple of black wires here, so I just want to sure I just get them just on the edge. Again, I don't want to mess up that white clip. So okay there. Put all them connections back there. So I'll put a bit more on here. I'm going to cable tie this to there so that can't move. What I also want to do is put this light back. This little light was all glued down here, so I'm going to re-glue it as well. Look at that. Lovely glue. So, I'm going to take that long to dry. Hold my hand there for a few minutes. Hopefully this works. I mean, I haven't tested this yet. Can you see what I'm doing? Yeah, right there. I'm hoping it works. Bit more on top. Blobby, blobby, blobby. Right, it's enough to hold itself now. So I just want to double check all my connections here that I've definitely got them all, and I think I have. I can't see anything that is out of the ordinary. So I think I've got everything. Just a touch on there, no harm there. Can be tricky to actually get the glue in. A bit of a blob there. Sorted. Right, so these are the two tops, and you can, as you can see, absolutely identical. The only difference is on this one it actually says 16 channel switch mode CCTV power supply, and on this one it says 700 watts switchable power supply. Now, like I said, you don't have to really get a 700 watt, 151, 200 watt, they'll all do the same. As you can see, absolutely identical, same fan, same everything. Transformer's the same, I don't know if you can see that, but the numbers are the same, so everything is the same. But this one costs like 10 times more than this one. Ridiculous. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use this one because it's a lot new. Well, it's new, so that fan dirty. Don't want a dirty fan. Now, I'm guessing this is going to work. Like I said, I'm still not 100% sure. All I know is all this hot snot now is dry. So I've just got two connections to connect. And I'm able to see this, I might be in the way of it, but if you're doing it, you'll see the connections. And this is the fan connection, hopefully. Just turn this round. Now, I'm just going to lie that down. And I don't know if this thing is going to blow up. I'm going to take the power supply from my monitor out. Now, this is a bit scary. This could blow up. I honestly don't know. Oh, I hate this part of it. Alright, there's no power on at the minute, so I can obviously plug it in. Now, it's plugged in. The little light is down here, but I don't know if that's going to light up. I suppose as long as I turn this on and it doesn't blow up, well then I class this as a result. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flick the switch under here first, and I'm going to flick the switch on the wall. I'm going to see what happens, and if anything happens I can quickly turn it off from the wall. Here goes. Take that plug out, and I don't know what's going to happen, people. I really don't. Hey! It works! There we go. Well, I'm well happy. It works. The little light came on. And just to let you know, I wasn't worried at all. I wasn't wearing a mask at all, just in case. I mean, I knew. I just knew it was going to work. Wasn't worried in the slightest. Now, look, all I can say is €180 for the ccvt power supply. And you can get these for, I think the cheapest ones are at 20 quid or €20 from a computer supply shop. So there you go. What's the point of buying one? You could literally build this, I'd say, for about 30 quid, buy a power supply, buy these, and you can build it yourself. Saves 180 quid, or saves 150 quid anyway. And it bloody works. It didn't blow up. I'm still here. So I'm going to put the video on. So yeah, sorted. Look, hope it helps. Thumbs up and subscribe, and don't forget, get your hands dirty. See you for the next one. Woohoo!